11th, 2022. Apologies for not getting here earlier or last night. I could have started about midnight 30, and I know that wasn't going to really work out for anyone. So we put it off, and we do it here now. A lot of developments. Supposedly a ceasefire. The war focus is shifting. So Eastern Europe is hopefully starting to get some form of a tentative peace. But right as it is returning to a tentative peace, our friends in the Middle East are getting ready to go again. So, it is what it is. It's war. They're fighting it, and they think they've got good reasons for it. And meanwhile, a lot of civilians they're having problems. So we're gonna just go through it. I'm tired. That's part of the other problem. I'm doing too much, but we're okay, So sit back, cuddle up, get a nice cat or a coffee or something, and get ready for some crises, because the crisis report, most comprehensive news on YouTube, is about to drop now. Okay, here we go. And this starts from yesterday and moves all the way into today. So there's a lot here. That's why we're just going to keep moving and grooving. North Korea launched several ballistic missiles towards the sea. U.S. oil tanker, Portuguese flagship cargo vessel collided in the North Sea. Rescue operations are underway. Search and rescue, yada, yada. 30-some people have been injured or worse. They think the guy just screwed up. So, pretty convenient if you think about it. Syrian Defense Ministry has announced the completion of military operation Latakia. Translation, we have done the G side thing. European Commission says that Syria's interim president, Shara, is invited to Brussels for a donor conference. That sounds good. Yeah. Nearby ships have been rushing to help that one. So we're going to put this right there. Hold on. Try to make it so you can hear, and I can just kind of talk to you like this. There we go. All right. That works for me. U.S. is ramping up. By the way, if there's not a 5x5, it's just easier for me to look at the chat like this. If there's a problem with the sound and all that, shouldn't be. Put it into the thing, like highlight my name or something. European Commission says that Syria's interim president al-Shara Brussels for a donor conference. Ships are rushing to help the disabled one. U.S. is ramping up delivery of U.S. military equipment to Taiwan after the stop of aid to Ukraine. Playback of both the vessel's movements before and after the incident in the North Sea. Marine traffic data shows that the incident occurred at approximately 9:48 UTC. 183-meter-long oil tanker was anchored off Immingham when it was struck by the 140-meter-long container ship, which was en route to Rotterdam. So, big problems in Little China, or Netherlands, whatever you want to call it. Stena Immaculate, one of the 10 tankers designed to bring oil to the U.S. Army and supply and armed forces fuel during times of armed conflict, national emergency. It is managed by U.S. logistics firm Crowley and owned by Sweden's Stena Sphere, which is controlled by the billionaire Olsen family. Oil tanker involved in the collision, MV Stena Immaculate, was an en route from Agio Theodori in Greece to Killingholme in the United Kingdom. So, big problems. Good. All right, I guess that's it. All right, it says. All right, there we go. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. I thought I saw something. About 100 cubic meters of radioactive coolant leaked from Finland's Olkiluoto 3 nuclear reactor, largest in Europe. Operator TVO Monday said no safety risk has been posed. 23 casualties have been brought ashore at Grimsley after collision of the sea and the cargo ship and the fuel tanker. I think it's up to 30, if not more. White House officials stated that the American crude oil tanker provides essential capacity to the Department of Defense, U.S. Navy, and they're not ruling out foul play. Heavy aerial movement of at least 3 Chinooks over Homs. Russian representative of International Organization in Vienna says Iran intends to withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty if sanctions on them are imposed by the U.S. Hacker group named Dark Storm claimed the DDoS attack on X yesterday. Zelensky has personally apologized to Trump for the incident in the Oval Office, sending a letter to the U.S. president. Today, of course, you have the signing. After a change in headlines, the Telegraph now claims the U.S. flag tanker is indeed a U.S. military tanker. Tanker was indeed a military mission carrying fuel for the U.S. military. British government has issued a restriction that effectively bans pilots from flying over the accident site, which is the short distance northeast of Spurn Point on the northern bank of the Humber estuary. Pilots are forbidden to fly within the designated area without the permission of the Coast Guard. NOTAM, seen by the Telegraph, the zone extends for up to 2,000 feet above sea level. Prime Minister's official spokesman said it was an extremely concerning situation, speaking to the media about the ships. In another serious development, the Solong cargo ship, which plowed into U.S. military tankers, was carrying 15 containers of the highly toxic compound sodium cyanide. Wonderful. BLM street mural in Washington, D.C. has begun to be dismantled, originally painted in 2020. Street will be renamed as Liberty Street. Alawite leaders sent an urgent letter to the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister saying, save us from the brutal regime. We will receive you with songs and flowers. The letters also include a surprising appeal to the Israeli media. It's sad. I've got a video of a guy on my Subscribestar pleading for his sister's lives. Letter was sent to senior Israeli officials, amongst others, through contacts in the region who will mediate between the local population and the state of Israel. It was written on behalf of the leadership and senior sheiks of the Alawites in Syria. Qatar confirms the Hamas rejected the partial solutions presented in initial conversation by Trump envoy Adam Bowler. During the talks, Hamas proposed an agreement that included a decade-long ceasefire and refused to give up weapons. Judge appointed by the Syrian President al-Sharaa to investigate the massacre of the Alawites belongs to ISIS, according to Russian source. I'm sure he'll do a bang-up job there. Israel's withdrawal from the Philadelphia Axis was supposed to happen on the 50th day of the agreement. That was yesterday, but it did not happen. Earlier today, Monday, several were identified operating near IDF troops in the area of Shajaya and attempting to plant explosive devices in the ground. Troops were opened fire toward them. Hits were identified. Excuse me. Additionally, three terrorists were identified operating near IDF troops in the area of Nusrat and attempting to plant explosive devices in the ground. IDF struck the terrorists and the hits were identified. Steve Witkoff on the ceasefire deal says, for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas to happen, progress, well, Hamas needs to fully disarm and leave Gaza. Hamas has no alternative but to disarm and exit the Gaza Strip. If they do, everything will basically go as it's supposed to. Syrian Kurdish SDF strikes deal with Jilani. Syrian Kurdish SDF has reached an agreement with Jilani to reintegrate the Kurdish autonomous region into the Syrian state. It goes on from there, ceasefire and all that, different parameters, but they have to do this or there's going to be problems. So I know that there's friends to our south that are just chafing at the bits. Big blow to Americans. Kurds who are supported by them signed an agreement today with the terrorist Jilani for a ceasefire and their integration into the Syrian army. So they have fully succumbed to Jilani and whatever he is. Passenger snapped this photo on Air Canada flight from Vancouver to Toronto today, showing that the airline's map no longer includes Israel. Okay. Air Canada care to explain. This is obviously Amir Sarfati. 1.7 trillion erased in the U.S. stock market in a single day. That was yesterday. Jilani affiliated militant commander openly calls for the slaughter of Alawite women and children over his microphone. Mujahideen do not leave alive any Alawite, male or female. The most respected among them will be slaughtered. The most respected Alawite women will be slaughtered. Slaughter them all. God. Including the children in the bed. These are pigs. Take them and throw them into the sea. Wow. Poetic. Trump advisors are already exploring options to ease sanctions on Russia, including lifting the oil price caps. U.S. officials arrested Mohammed Khalil, former Columbia University graduate student, for claiming ties to Hamas after Trump's execution orders against anti-Semitism. Britain is working to unfreeze $23.3 billion for the sale of Chelsea Football Club by Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. To support Ukraine, Foreign Secretary David Lammy promises to take legal action to resolve the issue and redirect the funds of humanitarian aid to Ukraine. U.S. Secretary of State Rubio, I can assure you this, we will not be providing military aid to the Russians. Senator and retired astronaut Mark Kelly responds to Elon Musk calling him a traitor. He says, Elon, if you don't understand that defending freedom is a basic tenet of what makes America great and keeps us safe, maybe you should leave it alone, those of us that do. Qatar says it welcomes the agreement to integrate the Syrian Democratic Forces into the institutions of the Syrian Arab Army or Republic, considering it is a key step towards civil peace and security and stability and institutional governance. Syrian President Shara in holding a meeting with Suwaida's legal and political elites to ease regional tensions and reach a mutual agreement. Ontario's Doug Ford, if the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off. He tried, he failed. This is the worst start to a presidential term since 2009. No, that's not true. Today marked the worst market day since 2022 as the S&P 500 lost 4.5 trillion So almost $5 trillion was erased from the white. Yeah, that's a lot. Tech sector took the biggest hit, $1 trillion in a single day, following Trump's comments on possible recession. Crypto market crashed by $1.3 trillion. Tesla shares have plunged 55% in 2.5 months. NVIDIA lost 30% since the inauguration. Trump's envoy Witkoff plans to visit Moscow for a meeting with Putin. State Department of the U.S. stated that Rubio reiterated the United States' firm commitment that any situation or solution in Gaza must not include any role for Hamas. In a meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky, Saudi Crown Prince underscored the support for all international efforts aimed at resolving the crisis and achieving peace. And that's from Saudi state news agencies. President Trump is pushing to build metals refining facilities on Pentagon military bases to boost domestic production of critical minerals and counter China's dominance in the sector. An executive order could be signed as soon as Wednesday. Trump also plans to appoint a critical minerals czar to oversee the administration's efforts. Plan underscores national security concerns as military weaponry relies on minerals processed by Beijing. Trump administration may resume intelligence and military support to the Ukraine if upcoming high-level talks on a potential peace process show progress. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said this. He expressed optimism about today's meeting, hinting at a possible policy shift. Rubio also said that Ukraine must give up some of the territory seized by Russia since 2014 for any agreement to end the war. Israel's defense ministry is set to procure 5,000 drones. This has sparked controversy due to the inclusion of Chinese technology. The delete, until it's getting tired, land. The debate has been sparked by cybersecurity risks posed by a Hong Kong-based company, Team Black Sheep, which is supplying key components. Several Israeli companies, including Dronix, Extend and Robotichan, sound painful, vying for the contract. Some companies are good Lord. Some companies are proposing alternatives using secure digital communications instead of the mandated Chinese analog systems. Tender could expand to 20,000 drums and exceed 70 million shekels. European defense stocks, particularly Rheinmetall, Thales, and Leonardo, are experiencing a sharp rally due to increased military budgets. That is correct. There we are. Rheinmetall's valuation now competes with luxury brands like LVMH, Birkin. I mean, you just keep going up. NATO has urged the EU and Turkey to improve their relations as U.S. President Donald Trump retreats from European security forces and the contingent capitals to rapidly rethink their alliances. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has privately urged EU leaders to step up engagement with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan after years of basically just silence. Ukraine attacked Moscow with drones overnight. 1 killed, 91 down drones. It's crazy. Trump supports Elon Musk. He said Elon's doing a fantastic job. It's a fantastic job. Go get yourself some Budweiser. Largest drone attack on Russia this year. So, what happened? Well, Russian M.Ed claims 337 drones flew into the territory. 205 was the next closest, 225. So this is a lot. 91 in Moscow region, 126 in Kursk, Bryansk got 38, Belgorod got 25, Russian got 25, and Kaluga got 10. Okay. All right, no. All right, we're good. Trump's inauguration, billionaires lows $209 billion in 7 weeks. Elon Musk alone lost $148 billion, and then Bezos got $29 billion. Brin got $22 billion. Zuckerberg lost $5 billion, and he did this. And Bernard Arnault, $5 billion. Companies tied to these billionaires have collectively lost $1.39 trillion since January 17th. Only half of Britain see the U.S. as friendly, an ally now. Force, 70%. Germany, 67%. Seen as Britain's closest allies, only 49% consider the U.S. an ally, while 30% say it's neither friend nor foe. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte arrested in ICC court for crimes against humanity. He liked to take on the drug gangs, as I said. His deadly war on drugs, 16 to 2022, led to thousands of deaths. So he just wanted it to end in this country. Greenland's Prime Minister Moot de Eged strongly criticized U.S. President Donald Trump. Global order is collapsing on many fronts, and perhaps there is a more U.S. president who is so unpredictable that people feel uneasy. We deserve to be treated with respect, and I don't think the American president has done that since taking office. Russian State Duma Defense Committee Chairman Andrei Kartopolov says, urges Vlad to launch Oreshnik missiles. With just 1 day left in the 4-day deadline, Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi warns that they are fully prepared to launch new operations against Israel if it does not exist, because of Gaza. We stand firm on the ultimatum. Military action will begin the death of the deadline expires if aid is blocked. Israeli warplanes targeted the area around the Kalkala military airport in Suveda. Ukraine-U.S. talks have begun in Saudi Arabia. Everyone in suits, except for the Saudis, of course. Chinese reporters from Phoenix TV previously covered events exclusively from Russia's side have unexpectedly filmed a report from the Ukrainian side of the taunt, or the front. U.S. rules out Ukraine's returning to its 2014 or 2022 borders. American officials have reportedly stated they do not want to hear any requests from Ukraine to restore its borders to 2014. Is Putin unwilling to compromise on Ukraine? Well, Western security officials say Putin refuses to compromise on territorial demands, peacekeepers, Ukraine's neutrality. Putin has made deliberately maximalist demands ahead of negotiations to the end, which he knows will likely be unacceptable to Ukrainians and other Europeans. Is Armenia preparing for war? Azerbaijani source says yes. Warns that despite pro-peace rhetoric, Armenia is actively militarizing and preparing for a new war with Azerbaijan. Azerbaijani source. There we go. Armenia is actively militarizing and preparing for a new war with Azerbaijan. Massive reservist drills are going on April 1st to June 13th. Reliable sources suggest Yerevan is planning to initiate war in April. German army is still in very bad shape despite promises of higher defense spending. Germany hit NATO's 2% GDP defense spending target in 2024 for the first time since 1991. Trump imposes new tariffs on Canada. New tariffs will go into effect tomorrow. Mike Johnson, House Speaker, says if you are on a student visa and you're an aspiring young terrorist who wants to prey upon Jewish classmates, you're going home. Same thing for the other guy. I think they both just walked out. There we go. Israel and Lebanon have agreed to open negotiations to resolve disputes over the land between the two countries. Trump on Canada will pay a financial price for this so big that it will read about in the history books. Beijing deploys smart patrol vehicles, robotic patrol dogs. These are dogs on surfboards that are robots. Russia accuses London of being the main instigator of global conflict, just as they did in the eve of both world wars. Oil flow to Hungary via the Druzhba pipeline has been halted following a Ukrainian drone attack. Trump says the United States will increase tariffs on steel and aluminum from Canada to 50%. United States will immediately lift the pause on intelligence sharing and resume security assistance to Ukraine. Ukraine is ready to accept a 30-day ceasefire subject to Russian acceptance. Trump called Canada a tariff abuser after electricity surcharge and other problems, all the power we get from them. Our militants in Pakistan's Balochistan region have attacked a train carrying hundreds of passengers and taken a number of hostages, according to BBC. Poland aims to offer military training to 100,000 adults a year. Poland was behind Poland has been arming itself heavily and warily eyeing neighboring Russia amid demands by Trump for European countries to take more responsibility for their own defense. Trump says Trump says to double Canada's steel aluminum tariff rate to 50%. Trump has threatened to permanently shut off the tap especially down there on this island there. Trump says he will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity after Canadian province of Ontario imposed a 25% surcharge. He said Ontario Premier Doug Ford says Ontario and Canada will not back down until President Trump's tariffs are gone for good. Trump responds after Ontario Premier shut down. I think that's a doubler. Man has been arrested on suspicion of gross negligence, manslaughter, and North Sea crash. That's the one with the two boats from yesterday, killed 30. There will be grave consequences imposed in Canada if they now think that shutting down off the electricity for the U.S. and our citizens, that wouldn't be smart at all. White House, there would be grave consequences imposed on Canada if they think about shutting off electricity for the United States and our citizens. Canada's province of Ontario will suspend a 25% electricity surcharge on 3 American states. Premier Doug Ford said Tuesday after productive talks with the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Heavily armed French police deployed to bank in center of Romilly-sur-Seine in France, where a knife-wielding suspect is reportedly. Nearly half of the U.S. Education Department's force is going to be fired tomorrow. The United States will deploy more than 600 additional troops to its border with Mexico, U.S. military said Tuesday as the Trump administration steps up measures to combat illegal immigration. USAID official tells remaining staffers shred and burn all your documents. Nothing illegal about that. White House Senior Counselor Peter Navarro said Tuesday that Trump was no longer planning to double steel and aluminum tariffs with Canada after Washington's talks with the northern neighbor because, well, starting to see the light. Elon Musk said, I want to say, as a function of the greater policies of President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years. All Department of Education offices will be closed on Tuesday and Wednesday for security reasons, and if you're not supposed to report to them. Russia on Tuesday said it could not rule out contact with the United States in the next few days after President Donald Trump said he would speak to Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. Russia on Tuesday said, right there. IAF fighter jets stack radars and detection assets used for constructing aerial intelligence assessments in southern Syria. In addition, command positions and military sites containing weapons and military equipment belonging to the United States. Presence of these assets in southern Syria posed a threat to the state of Israel and IDF archives. So, percent of these assets in Turkey and southern Syria posed a threat to the state of Israel. These targets were struck in order to eliminate them. So why did the Kurds sign an agreement with the HTS government in Syria? It's because their spokesperson knew they needed to prevent Turkey from attacking them. Romania's top court has held a decision to ban President frontrunner Călin Georgescu. Iranian President Pezeshkian on Trump says, I won't negotiate with you under threats. Do whatever the hell you want. Israeli ship that enters the areas will be attacked. So the Houthis are back. Hour from now, midnight, so it's already come and gone. Ban the passage of Israeli ships, Arabian Sea. So, new situation will remain as long as the crossings in Gaza are not opened. Oil executives said on Tuesday they're bullish on U.S. petroleum investments in the emerging Trump era as some giants back away from renewable energy and beef up fossil fuel investment. Multiple airstrikes targeted the Houthi militia radar system near Hodeidah port in North Yemen. And Al Arabiya reports that U.S.-UK warplanes were now targeting, well, we don't think they're targeting anything, really. But they're, yeah. Anyway, whatever. They're now targeting Houthi military depots and radars in Hodeidah. That is your crisis report for March 11th, 2025. Please hit the like buttons and do all the things. God bless, friends. We're tired. We're going to bed, and we'll see you on the next one.